It is 7 a.m. and I'm gazing out that window and I can see the rain is coming down, which is perfectly apt for this specially requested episode from a photographer called Lisa, who has said, Khandie, I don't have a studio. What do I do? And I'm like, okay, honey, no studio, no excuse. So the weather is back, okay? The rain is coming. The British weather shows us who's boss, and half of you are upset because you don't have a studio and now your beautiful locations are no longer available. Newsflash, I just want to tell you, clients don't give a toss about your excuses. They want the photo still. So you can either find solutions or watch your bookings dry up faster than a wet holiday barbecue, okay? Like, we know those bank holiday barbecues. We know when we plan it, it's going to rain, okay? So today we're talking about the no studio survival tactics, about hiring a space smartly, marketing so you don't piss money up the wall, shooting in people's homes without making it look like Auntie Carol's curtain stole the show, and alternative ways to make money when the skies open and the heavens pour down. So strap in. This is The Loud Lens and I am Khandie. You can also request your own episode and chuck it into our Facebook group, which is the Loud Lens with Khandie Facebook group, and you can go there, or you can contact me on any social media, because I actually love these ones because they make me think a little bit more outside the box. So let's go. Let's have a reality check first. Not having a studio isn't a death sentence at all, and it really needs to be. We need to push away from this. I have spoken quite often about the fact I did not want a studio. I now have a studio. It's a smallish studio. It's literally a box, okay? There's nothing dramatically beautiful about it. It's in a converted warehouse, which sounds bougie than what it actually is. I I don't know how else to say this. I never wanted a studio. I'm so grateful I have one. Please understand that. But I quite enjoyed going around the country, doing my thing quite happily, because once you know how to use lighting, whether that's natural or flash, but I highly recommend, as if you might have listened to one of my previous episodes, even if you're a natural photographer, at least get used to using flash as a way to complement or accent. It will allow you to shoot more and shoot longer and get more money. Okay. Anyway, I never wanted that studio. I didn't think of myself as a studio photographer. So I was able to make quite a successful business myself. Obviously, I'm trying to think back there quite a while ago, and still not have a studio. Okay. What I found was that it was my lack of imagination that would often kill shoots for me. Okay. Because I'll be honest, most photographers are not rolling in cash, and studios are expensive, and they will literally bleed you dry with money. They're like a teenager who just wants and wants and wants and wants and wants. Okay, I want a new Xbox. I want this. I want this. And I'm like, okay. So it's a lot of money to maintain a studio. I'm talking like I have to get insurance. I have to clean it. I have to run its bills. And there's so much involved. It doesn't mean that I'm suddenly a successful photographer, okay? Because if you're not constantly booked in that studio, it is bleeding money, okay? And you will. I know people who got a studio way before they understood how to market themselves, and they had to give the studio up because they couldn't afford to maintain it, and now they feel they've taken a step back. So don't worry about not having a studio, not one that you have access to all the time, because not having a studio can actually force creativity, but you do need a strategy, okay? So if you sat there thinking, right, it's winter, well, I can't shoot anymore, that's it, don't. Now, there is the obvious one, hiring a studio for a day, but don't just hire it because it's raining outside, okay? You need to hire it when you've got clients lined up. And how you line them up is very clever marketing, okay? Don't just go, I've got a studio now for the day, let's do some shoots. You need to think about, okay, I need to create the hub up. So book it quite in advance, book it regularly, but don't announce it straight away. So what you could do is create mini for shoot days, Christmas portraits, business headshots, maybe Valentine's couples. I will say Valentine's doesn't normally sell massively well here in the UK, but maybe family portrait day, think about that and then set those mini sessions up. And then a minimum, and I say this, a minimum 4 weeks before that day arrives, okay? You want to put out teasers, one day only, limited limited spots, no reshoots, book fast, book price, create that urgency. Only 6 slots left, only 4 slots left, and give them social proof. Show behind the scenes of previous shoots at a studio or a similar studio or that studio if you can. But you don't need to book something massive, okay? You just need to book a space you can shoot in. People don't really expect to come into a studio and it to be like some massive Pinterest, Instagrammable location. As long as it's functional, that's okay. There's no shame in that, all right? Now, I will say, if you are going to start charging a lot more money, people do expect it to look a little bit bougier. But I've seen people do great work in a community centre and they brought their own lighting. Please understand, it's okay. It's okay. My studio does not have epic anything, okay? It's a white box with a little changing room, and then it's got this it's not, and you can see it on all my YouTube videos. Go look at Khandie Photography on YouTube, you can see it. It is what it is. It's functional. There's no storage. I have to create storage, but also that storage encroaches on the space. So I'm kind of stuck in this little place, okay? It's okay to have a studio. I love my space now, but even now I'll do one-off days. In fact, I've got one coming out on coming up soon, and I have been doing the marketing for it for the last 6 weeks, but saying, "Oh, it's coming out, it's coming out." Oh, and now it's out. Okay. So what you want to say is the wording is, don't just say, "I wrote a studio, yay, come and get it." It makes sound broke, it makes sound desperate. Instead, write exclusive one-day portraits in a private studio, limited availability. See how this wording changed? You're already creating a sense of urgency. It's exclusive. It's for one day. It's in a private studio. You're giving it the sense of luxury, limited availability. People are going to jump on this, especially if you add the pictures in. Okay. Okay. You also I wanna say you can also shoot at clients' homes and other locations. I know we're always like, "Oh, no, it's gonna be a mess," but do you know what? They're great for family photo shoots. They're fantastic. Lifestyle branding, newborns. Sell it as real personal storytelling in the space you actually live in. Because people love their homes for the most part, and they want to show, especially if they're in that, like, be authentic online kind of thing, like, be real. I'm a real mummy blogger, that kind of stuff. And a pro tip though, don't be afraid to move some furniture, use that window light, and keep clutter out of the frame. There is also some alternative locations. Coffee shops, get permission to shoot there. Sometimes you'll even pick up some work. I know I did. I did a couple of headshot sessions at this coffee shop, and they then said, "Oh, do you do any promo shots?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." So I ended up shooting their coffee shop. And then I did a deal where I could, like, hire the coffee shop space for a significantly less money, provided I did like 4 or 5 shots for them. It was great. Libraries. There's a library here in Northampton that is stunning. I know it's hard to get permission to shoot there, but why not? Ask if you can. Airbnbs, you can hire Airbnbs, and people, especially in the colder winter months, they're more. I find that people are more amenable to having someone hire. As long as you say, "Look, we're not staying overnight. You pay the rate, and your clients essentially come and go." As long as you tell the person you're doing it, I want you just to know you have to tell them, because if they find multiple people coming in, it could cause you a bit of a problem. So tell them. But you can also hire corporate offices, those hot desky places. But what you want to do is pitch it as a pop-up vibe or a location storytelling. Always ask, does this space reflect my client or the shoot's purpose? There's no point hiring a very opulent maximalist Airbnb if you're doing yoga teachers, yeah, or you're talking about this gentle stuff, right? It has to match. For me, if I was going to choose an Airbnb and I wanted to do headshots, I would probably do something that had a lot of natural light if possible. If it doesn't, I'd look for clean walls, maybe some exposed brickwork for that cliche, but very much love shot. And I'd do that. Like, it has to match, okay? It has to have that vibe for me. And I have used Airbnb places. You can actually go on there and you can message the seller, sorry, not the seller, rather the host, and say, "Hey, I want to do some headshots in here. I'm looking for it. Okay, is this okay?" I really do also like these warehouse conversions. They've got bare wood floors or interesting flooring, and then they sit in the and look at the chairs, look at the photos of it. Don't just go, "Okay, it's a great location," but look at the photos of it, because sometimes these people have styled their shots so in their listing so beautifully you can actually see how it would look. I hired a rooftop terraced Airbnb when I was in Leicester, and I did, I think, about 20 headshot and branding sessions up there for everyone from solicitors to gym people, because they could use the balcony to do their workouts, to who else did I have? A counselor, some entrepreneurs, and some social media influencers, because the space was so variable and it had multiple different pockets. I remember shooting in the kitchen, a food blogger, and then, like, literally the next one after was a solicitor who specializes in corporate criminality, and they had him out on the balcony doing these shots over, Leicester. And it was just a variety of people, because you can do that, and people loved it. They got to go up. I had a little table with some snacks and stuff on. I had fresh coffee on the go, and we didn't use the bedroom at all, because, I wasn't doing boudoir sessions. There's no reason to photograph anyone in the bedroom. We just closed it up. And do you know what? The Airbnb loved it, because I said we won't be going into that bedroom. The bathroom was used for anyone who needed to get changed, and we did some, that was it. And they loved it. And even some Airbnbs actually said, "Oh, would you mind taking some pictures of the interior for us, 'cause we need a fresh one?" I was like, "Yeah, no worries." And I would do that, and I even got a discount then on the hire cost. So, there are whole ways to it. And I actually still go back to some of these Airbnbs and do locations, because they understand that I respect the space, and you build a reputation. So it's a good place to do it. All right. The other one is there are other revenue streams in bad weather. There's a Norwegian saying, there's no such thing as bad weather, but it's just bad clothing choices or something like that. We're in the UK, we know bad weather can ruin everything. So for me, what we want to do is focus on this time on our social media presence and our business skills. Okay. So let's look at social media first. Use downtime to post consistently. Not annoyingly. So maybe make little videos of BTS, like, which is behind the scenes. If you ever don't know what that acronym means, behind the scenes. So maybe you can find some videos of what when you have been working, or maybe you could just sit with your morning coffee in your own home near the window, talking about tips for better photography. Maybe there's a time that you sort out your client testimonials or your FAQs on your website. Schedule content so when you are busy, you're still visible and people get to know who you are. Maybe it's time you shoot your own headshot session, or embrace that rain. I know I do sometimes. I also really love doing sessions straight after the rain. I just want to do this as a little tip in here. I know we don't want to shoot, but if you've got a client who or a friend, use it as a friend because you're gonna have to wait for that rain. Um, when the rain's just finished, everything's so reflective and lovely. I really love shooting in it. It bounces all the light around and you get this beautiful light. So yeah, there is that. I just want to put that out. Also protect your kit because damp can do so much damage to your kit. Okay. Also, with your social media presence, don't feel bad about like resharing old content. Okay, you can talk about old content. Goes, oh, who misses summer, or I can't wait to do this, or but you can also embrace the rain if you want to. I've said that before, but I would say most clients are reluctant to go out in the rain. But I did a session a couple of years ago where I did puddle jumping. It was a very cheap session, so I needed some content. So I like I said, families who like puddle jumping. I need families, it's X amount of money. I want pictures of you jumping in the puddles. And I have to say, I didn't think it was going to pop off, but it really, if I might do that again. I might do that again. I love a bit of puddle jumping. And, these kids came out and why are kids' wellies so much better than everybody else's? I too want dinosaur wellies at the grand old age that I am. I want them in my size. These little kids were like jumping around and the parents were loving it and they were splish splashing about in their little anoraks. I had a little girl who was in like a little duck anorak. Again, I want this in an adult size, please. And it was just such fun because, it messy play is fantastic. We had mud kitchen sessions as well. There was a company that made mud kitchens. I don't know if you know what mud kitchens are. They're literally like kitchen inspired play appliances. I don't know how else to describe it, like a kitchen, right? And they're for outdoor use. And the idea is kids play with the mud, okay? To just messy play. It's good for them. It helps with their motor skills, their cognitive ability, all of that. And we did all this and it got messy. And there's some of my favorite shots. I don't know if they're still on my website. I don't think, no, they're not on my website anymore because they're quite old now, but maybe I need to redo those. And it was fantastic. There are opportunities to embrace, but I will say they're few and far between. The other thing is, are you reconnecting with your past clients? Because you could upsell prints, albums, and even offer retouching packages to other photographers who've got a backlog. Often people who have studios will have job lists that they need to get through. And if you are good at retouch, get them involved. Okay. You could also think about teaching workshops online and offer mentoring. You could license older images as stock photography and offer seasonal vouchers for spring shoots. Get the cash now and shoot later. Don't forget this great idea for Christmas. I know I've said the C word. I know, hate me. But there are ways. I do a lot of passive income, should I say, from my print sales because I use Pixie and I say to people, hey, if you had a shot with me in the last year, I'm offering 10% discount on all prints if you want to buy them. People always say, yeah, I really want to get them. And I say, okay, so because I have them archived, it's not too long for me to load them back up. But I put it in and people really enjoy that, okay? I make a bit of money on that. I also, when I say teach workshops online, I'm not asking you to do like a whole 11-week, oh, here's a basics to photography, because, unless you know how to plan a plan that's a lot. But maybe you want to talk about how to get better natural light photos with your phone, because there's people who'd be interested in this probably aren't other photographers, but could be potentially mums, dads, business people who just want to get better on the phone. And before you go, oh, Khandie, I'm teaching them to do my job, you're not, because they're going to still go, oh yeah, that's great. And then you're going to show what you can do with your mobile and with your camera, and they're going to see it's a bit different because they're still going to struggle to do it. And it's a thing, okay? If you tell someone how to do the job, they're going to love it, but they're still going to look at you as the person who told them how to do it. So you have this elevated level and they'll always respect you, or at least that's what the implication is, okay? I love mentoring though. So one of the things I do is mentor. I currently have 9 people I mentor. They book in for hour, 2-hour sessions at a time, be it on Zoom, be it in the studio. I know, again, I said privilege at the studio, but sometimes I travel to them. We sit in coffee shops. So you have the opportunity, okay? And I mentor them. And it's a nice little income, but I also get that warm, fuzzy feel good factor because, your girl wrote 2 books about photography and it's nothing to do with settings. And they went top seller. By the way, go buy them on Amazon. And I also do this podcast. So, I mean, maybe now it's time for you to launch your own podcast. Maybe you could talk about this stuff. Maybe there's something you want. Maybe it's not even about photography. I'm not saying like this podcast is about photography, but there's nothing stopping you starting a podcast about life as a mum, trying to run a business, or life after divorce. Why am I always doing these visual? Life after divorce, or running fitness, or I don't know, social commentary, whatever it is, your obsession with Taylor Swift, okay, whatever it is. There is an ability to start a podcast. It's so easy to do and for free. Um, but what I will say is stop sitting there worrying and whining. If you want clients, they need to know you exist. That means marketing isn't optional. So you should already have a mailing list. If you don't have a mailing list, today's the day you start getting a mailing list. If you're like, Khandie, how do I get a mailing list? I haven't got any money. If you haven't got any money to get a mailing list, first of all, when clients sign up to you to do a shoot, you should have the contract, and it should somewhere in there say you're allowing words. It should say somewhere that they allow you to contact them. Okay. What you could also do is go onto your Facebook page or your Twitter. Who uses Twitter now? Or Instagram stories and put it up. Hey, I'm starting a mailing list. There's exclusivity for 10 discounts on photo shoots. There's this if you sign up, right? Because you want to do a little incentive. All right. So you can then build that main list up. You can also use existing clients provided they give you permission to contact them, put it into the main list. And if you want one that's free, you can pay for the enhancement so you get all your branding on it. It's MailChimp, okay? So you can use that one. So you don't just rely on some social media algorithm to give you the roulette on whether you win or not. You're going to be like a business owner and take control over this. So you are going to start using that mailing list, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to now start reaching out to clients, because it's always good to share what you're up to. I often, when I send out my mailing list, take pictures for them. So show additional pictures for them. I show what I've been doing, like when I was traveling. I talk about my latest podcast, the YouTube channel. I talk about all sorts of things, okay? I like to think like a business owner and not just someone who just happens to take pretty pictures. I take control of this situation, okay? So I just want to say, not having a studio is not your downfall, but sitting on your ass waiting for the weather to clear is. Rent smart, market smarter, use homes, locations, use it creatively. Find ways to keep money coming in so when the skies are grey, you don't feel like the world's falling apart, because your business only works when the sun's shining, mate. That's going to be a massive problem. That is a hobby. And I don't do hobby chats on the on the Loud Lens. Although I have, that's a lie, I have. When I said not every every hobby needs to be turned into a business. But what I mean is, we are professional photographers. We need to be adaptable and we need to understand. And you always need to have a wet weather contingency. As I said, wet weather, the heavens just opened outside. I'm recording this in my home office and the weather has just erupted. So if you can hear that, that's what that is. But yeah. Also, maybe this is time to do some learning yourself. There's lots of free content out there. Like I said, join my YouTube channel. Go and do some free content. And also, in fact, go listen to the podcast I did on trends, okay, to talk to you about what not to do and how to use it and maybe find some good marketing advice. But until then, I'll see you all soon and we'll get chatting some more, my darlings. Very nice on this episode. I feel like I've become like this very soft spoken. Yeah. Soft spoken is a bit of a stretch of the imagination person, especially when you think I wrote 2 books that have swear words in the title. And I literally put myself down as the loudmouth content creator. But anyway, my darlings, enjoy. Grab a coffee, a vodka, or whatever it is that keeps you going in the day. Obviously not vodka if you listen to this in the morning. But enjoy yourself. Remember, we chose to have a business, so we need to treat it like a business. Take care.